Oh, hello. My name is Mara, and welcome to Books Like Whoa. So I mentioned this back in October, but the end of the year seems to be when I actually do TBRs, because in October I tend to want to really focus on getting through some mysterious or spooky stuff. In November, it's nonfiction November, so that's when I catch up on nonfiction that I meant to get to this year. And then kind of mid-November, I like to check in and see okay, you got about 6 weeks left. What is it that you're really trying to get done this year? Because we're at crunch time. It's time to do or die. So I'm trying to kind of evaluate what do I have left that I really wanted to get to in terms of challenges, in terms of just books that came out this year that by the end of the year I would like to have read so that I can comment on it or have an opinion about it. And just generally things that I was hoping to either start or finish in terms of series, stuff like that. So we're going to do a rest of the year TBR of things that I would like to get to by the end of the year. I'm not going to touch on the things that I already mostly mentioned in my November, what I'm reading right now. I just filmed that, and that should have already gone up in the weekend by the time you're seeing this. So I'll mention a couple as overlap, but for the most part, I'm not going to talk about those necessarily. I'm going to talk about all the books that I have left to finish up for challenges, and then also just the books that I was really just wanting to get to this year. So let's start with the books I have left for challenges, and then we'll transition to the other ones. So first of all, I did want to mention that I have technically already completed my classics challenge for the year, because my goal, I picked 12, and my goal was to read at least 6, and I have done that. And then I've also DNF'd is not quite the right word, but put down for now David Copperfield, because I just realized I wasn't in the right mood. So if you included that, that would actually be, I had, read or made a decision about 7 of the 12. So I have actually technically finished that. If I get in the mood for a classic, I think the one that I would pick up would be The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, which would bring me up to 8. But I've actually really kind of addressed that challenge. So I'm not going to put any pressure on myself to get to this. This is purely just if that is the mood that I get into. So that's good news. The other good news is that I originally, so about maybe a third of the way through the year, I was one of my goals was to catch up with the In Death series this year. And I was I don't think that's going to happen. But then in the late summer and fall, I have been just on a binge kick with the In Death series. So I will, in the month of November, I will finish up Leverage in Death and Festive in Death. I will finish both of those. And so that means that in December, I will finish up Vendetta and Connections in Death, and I will be caught up with all of the novels. And then in January, I think I'll catch up on all the novellas. But I actually think I'm going to make it with that goal. I didn't think I would. So that's good news. So those are definitely on my TBR for the rest of the year. I have caught up on every single arc that I needed to read for this year. Good job, me. I do already... there was this brief period where I had none, and then I have more. So for next year though, I don't have to read them this year, but I do so I accomplished my goal of completely catching up on arcs. I want to continue that good momentum. So as I have occasion to be in the mood to read some of the arcs that I have already for next year. So I have 3 romance ones. I have Headliners by Lucy Parker. I have A Heart of Blood and Ashes by Milla Vane. Oh, it's like a fantasy romance. And then Girl Gone Viral, which is the follow-up to The Right Swipe. So those might get slotted in. In December, I'm going to read The Stars We Steal by Alexa Donne. I should have brought that in here, but that's already on the docket. And then Something That May Shock and Discredit You by Daniel Mallory Ortberg. I should have also brought that one in, but both of those are physical arcs I have. So those are my 5 known arcs right now. So those might get slotted in, but I actually don't have anything right now. I think I guess Headliners is for January. So that's the only one I need to read this year. But that is just a lovely feeling, guys. So I have that happening. So I've completed my challenge to catch up on arcs, and I may choose to put myself in an even better position for next year, but I don't have to do that. Then for my Reading Women challenge bingo board that I made, my goal is to get 5 bingos. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm going to read, we'll talk about Difficult Women. I'm going to read Difficult Women and Nevermore. So I will get that one. I have this one. And then I do want to read for my mystery thriller by a woman of color. I want to read They All Fall Down by Rachel Howzell Hall, which is a retelling of And Then There Were None. So that sounds super fun. And I believe that the author is a Black woman of color. So that would fit that challenge. So that would mean I would end up with 3 bingos. So not what I was hoping, but you know, still pretty good. We'll see how many that brings me up to in total. But so there's that one that in theory I would read this year. And then I have my 19 books I want to read in 2019 list. And here's where, So in theory, this month, I will have read, and by the end of November, I will have read 3 more from that list. So I will have finished Essays in Understanding by Hannah Arendt. I will have finished Born Again Bodies by R. Marie Griffiths. And I will have finished Difficult Women by Roxane Gay. So if I do that, which I plan to, that means that in December, I need to get to Bayou Moon by Ilona Andrews, How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin. Sorry if you can hear the dogs. My neighbor's dogs are freaking out. Originally, this was going to be the 5th season. I've realized that for some reason, I feel very intimidated by that book. I already know what I think the twist is in it, and I still feel intimidated by it. I don't know why. And I think that I want to start with N.K. Jemisin. And I think that because this is short stories, this is a better, like, that's really what I wanted to do, was start reading N.K. Jemisin this year. So I made the executive decision that I'm taking 5th season off, and I'm putting How Long Till Black Future Month as that pick. So that, Bayou Moon, let's see what else. Uprooted by Naomi Novik, and Year One by Nora Roberts. All of those are like really fun genre-y things. So I don't think it should be too terribly difficult to make that happen in December. But in theory, all 4 of those need to happen in December. I think next year I'm going to have to be better about making myself read more of my picks earlier in the year so I don't get into that situation again. But there you go. So those are all of my official challenges. I will say that I had a few also in this things I want to read this year list. A series that I want to start or finish. So let's transition to that portion of my TBR. Guys, this is getting absurd. This is not all going to happen. What am I thinking? Why can't I make better reading choices earlier in the year so I'm not in this position? I say that. I jest. This is all in good fun. I set myself these challenges. It's completely fine if I don't make them. So one thing I wanted to do was finish the main books in the Brother Sinister series by Courtney Milan. I've had this pending for like 5 years, and I just wanted to go ahead and read the last one. So The Suffragette Scandal, that's a historical romance to finish off that series. I've been wanting to try The Old Man's War by John Scalzi, just as like some good hard sci-fi. I will say one of my goals for this year was to read more sci-fi, and I've done a good job of that. So I'm not going to put too much pressure on myself to get to this one. I think I would probably prioritize getting to this one because this is a series that I think I'm really going to like. So The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I think I would probably prioritize starting this book to see if I like it and want to continue in the series overall. So there's that. Those were all 3 ones that I put on at the beginning of the year on that list I was showing you. And then I think 2 other ones I wanted to mention as series that I want to either start or make progress on. I would really like to start with Robb and Hobb, The Assassin's Apprentice. I would really like to read this to see if I'm interested in continuing. So I'm hoping I can find a slot where I'm in the mood for some high fantasy to put that in. These UK covers also just make me so happy. And then I meant to read Dragon Shadow much earlier in the year so that I could go ahead and read Flamebringer, which came in the mail for me a couple days ago. So this trilogy is now complete. The Heartstone, the first book in the series, Heartstone, is one of my favorite fantasies, honestly, I've probably ever read. The more it passes, the more I think fondly of it. It is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, but with dragons, and it's just delightful. So I really want to read the second one so that I can get to the third one next year, even though I should have just read this earlier so I could finish off the series now, but whatever. So those are all series that I either want to start or make progress on by the end of the year. And then 2 books I want to put on here because they've been very hyped, at least in like my circle of the bookish internet. They've been two big releases this fall that I really would like to read so that I can have an opinion on it. So first of all, Gideon the Ninth by Jemisin. This has been a very divisive book. This has an isolated close circle mystery in it, which I think will be really rad. And there's a sequel. So I want to know if I want to pre-order the sequel for next year, for one. And also I just kind of want to find out what my opinion on this is. So I have that in the category of like big 2019 release that I would like to read, along with the rest of the bookish internet, The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I'm expecting that I'm really going to like this because this is sort of like a speculative thrillery thing with a secret society at Yale. That's all stuff that I love. So I expect that I'm going to enjoy this. But I want to have an opinion on it because it was, I would say maybe this is the biggest release of the year, at least on BookTube, probably. I feel like probably this is. So I kind of just want to know what my opinion is of all the hype. And then finally, I have a special little category that I'm going to call Leanna's Library's Corner because I have three books here that she has either sent to me or that she loves and I really want to get to so that we can talk about it. And they are all very similar, and all of them are books that I keep like, I think I'm going to have a lull to slot it in, and then like I get an arc that I wasn't expecting to, and so I had to switch to, do you know what I mean? Like I kept like almost reading these and then getting pulled into something else. And I really want to read all three of these, and these should all be really fun. So I think they should be pretty easy to slot in now that I'm like officially making them a priority. So first of all, Trick by Natalia Jaster. This is a fantasy romance, and Leanna has like very specific taste in fantasy romance. She's like dipping her toes in. She's starting to like it a little bit more. And this is one she really liked, and she sent this to me, and I would very much like to read it because I really like fantasy romance. That's like one of my favorite subgenres of fantasy. So there's this one, another fantasy romance that she didn't send me, but that I love this author also and keep meaning to get to and I keep not doing it. This is one of her favorites, is Entreat Me by Grace Draven. And this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling in a fantasy world. So like, I should love this. I really love Grace Draven's writing. Like all signs point to this being something I'm going to really dig. So she liked that one, and she always talks about it. And then she also sent me Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schulte. And this is, I've heard divisiveness on this a little bit, but this is like a YA speculative murder mystery. Okay, that sounds great. That sounds like something I'm really going to be into, or at least have fun with. And again, I keep like almost reaching for it and then getting distracted. So all three of those, that's Leanna's Library's Corner of my TBR, where I am going to get to those three because they all sound like a lot of fun. And I think, I mean, that's the thing. I look around and I'm like, these all sound so great. Of course they do. I pick them out and like, I want to read them. And I've let things get a little bit away from me, which is, I mean, maybe that just speaks to, I have very ambitious goals every year, and maybe I need to think about that. So, I don't know. As we go into 2020, I think if I'm going to do challenges like this again, you know, I mean, I won't be trying to catch up on a big series like In Death next year. So that will free up some time, I think, for some of these more fun books to get slotted in, because like something like this is a very similar mood I would have to In Death. Like I reach for this when I'm like, you know what, I just want to have a good time. Like I want to, like, this is comfort reading as well because I really love these characters, but just like when I'm in the mood for something just like good time, fun, you know, yum yum yum, not having the In Death series on deck to do that will free up time for books that are sort of just more fun for me. So that is true. Okay, I've made myself feel a little bit better about that. Anyway, all that to say, that is the TBR that I have for the rest of the year. Let's see how I do with that. How about that? Let's see how this goes. But let me know if you've got any goals or things that you're trying to get done by the end of the year that you are working on, or, you know, if you've already just succumbed and realized that you don't have any chance of meeting those goals, that's fine too. I know some people don't like setting themselves goals or challenges for reading, which is totally fine. For me, because I'm such a mood reader, it does help to have some sort of loose structure to keep, because if I have no structure, I found that sometimes I just don't read anything because I feel so just like, well, I don't even know what I want to read. So by having a little bit of structure, it helps me focus on my gigantic TBR and actually pick out something to read. So anyway, let me know what you think about all this below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that that will do it. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!